Hello and what's up guys? In this video, something shocking just happened in Abuja and is sending ripples across Nigeria's political landscape. Emir Muhammadu Sanusi II, the former central bank governor and current Emir of Kano, has dropped a bold warning to ministers and presidential aides serving under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And trust me, this is not your regular political speech. This one cuts deep. At the Oxford Global Think Tank Leadership Conference, Sanusi didn't hold back. He looked straight into the eyes of power and said, "Don't turn yourself into praise singers." Now, pause for a second. What does that even mean? Sanusi is calling out a dangerous trend in Nigerian politics, a culture where leaders are surrounded by people who only tell them what they want to hear. No truth, no honesty, just flattery. And according to him, this is one of the biggest reasons Nigeria is struggling today. Let's break it down. Sanusi said ministers and aides should stop clapping at every word the president says. Instead, they should offer real advice, even if it's uncomfortable, because if they don't, Nigeria will continue to sink deeper into economic and social crisis. And here is where it gets even more intense. He said, "Our leaders listen, but only to those who tell them what they want to hear." That is a heavy statement. It means that even if the country is burning, as long as the president hears applause, he might think everything is fine. Now, let's compare this to past events. Remember, during the Jonathan administration, there were similar complaints that ministers were too scared to speak up. And even during Buhari's time, many Nigerians felt that sycophancy was at all-time high. Sanusi himself was removed as Emir of Kano in 2020 after criticizing government policies. So this isn't new for him. He has been consistent. But why is this speech different? Because it's coming at a time when Nigeria is facing serious economic hardship. Inflation is high, the naira is weak, fuel prices are choking businesses, and the average Nigeria is struggling to survive. So when Sanusi says, "Stop pressing blindly," he's basically saying, wake up, Nigeria is in trouble. He also criticized the way government events are organized, where officials spend more time praising the president than discussing real issues. He called it a culture of praise that's killing progress. And here is the twist. Sanusi wasn't alone. He shared the stage with Atedo Peterside, another respected economist. Together, they painted a picture of a country that needs urgent rescue, not more applause. So what does this mean for President Tinubu? It means he has a choice. He can surround himself with honest advisors who challenge him, or continue with praise singers who tell him everything is fine. And if he chooses the latter, well, the consequences could be severe. Let's not forget, history has shown us that leaders who ignore criticism often end up isolated and disconnected from reality. Think of Mugabe in Zimbabwe, or even Yahya Jammeh in the Gambia. They ruled with praise singers and their countries suffered. Sanusi's message is clear. Nigeria needs truth, not flattery. And here is the final punch. He said, if you are in government and you can't speak the truth, then you are part of the problem. That is a direct challenge to every minister, every aide, and every political appointee in Nigeria today. So guys, what do you think? Is Sanusi right? Should Nigeria leaders listen more to honest voices, or is praise just part of politics? There you have it guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. Feel free to share your thoughts after watching.
Or do we just love ruling over them? Do we actually love Nigerians as human beings? You can say, I love Nigeria. What is Nigeria? We have been living with inflation of over 30%. For how many years? So imagine someone who is just able to afford 2 square meals a day, and the price of food doubles every 2 years. By now, he has starved to death. Reality about poverty in Nigeria is that many of the elite really do not even know what poverty is. A lot of the time we talk about these numbers. The example the professor gave was a very potent example. In all my life as an economist, as a banker, as a governor of the central bank, I looked at these numbers. X% of Nigerians on less than $1 a day. X% of Nigerians in multidimensional poverty. And the numbers are bad, but you don't know how bad they are until you actually go and look into the eyes of poverty. The case of that lady was an eye-opener for me. I did not know poverty until I became an emir. When you actually go to a village, see the water they drink, see the house they live in. When you're told there's a primary school in a village and it is a 2-classroom school without a roof and without a teacher. When you see malnutrition and you see their children, how they look, then you understand what poverty is. And the reality is, even the poverty we see in the urban areas in Kano or Lagos is nothing. It is nothing. You actually have to go where the majority of our people live to know what poverty is. So the first question I think we have to ask ourselves as leaders, not just the political leaders, all of us, is, do we actually love the people, or do we just love ruling over them? Do we actually love Nigerians as human beings? You can say, I love Nigeria. What is Nigeria? It's the people who live there. What are our priorities? Many years ago when I was in banking, the president of the World Bank came and had a town hall meeting. I think it was in the Sheraton or the Hilton. And he said he wanted to meet for a change ordinary Nigerians. And a gentleman, when it came to KIA, a gentleman from Kogi asked a question. It was an interesting question. He said, look, the village I live in, there is a river that we have to cross when it is not rainy season because there's no bridge. The only reason I made Abuja is that it's dry season and I could walk through that river to go and get a car. But my surprise is I came to Abuja and I saw so many bridges and there's no water. It was a profound statement. We build overheads and underpasses for ourselves, we build skyscrapers, and we think we are developing. Meanwhile, people cannot come out from their village to go to hospital. Pregnant women cannot get antenatal care. There is no concern, there is no investment in emergency services. Just yesterday, 115 people died in Mokwa from floods. So, I think we should come back to that basic question, do we love the people? Because if we do, they will not be uneducated. If we do, they will not be malnourished. If we do, they will not die hungry. These statistics have no meaning unless, this is the only country where you say inflation of 25%, 30%, and it's like saying it rained yesterday. At 18% inflation, the price of everything doubles every 4 years. 18. We have been living with inflation of over 30%. For how many years? So imagine someone who is just able to afford 2 square meals a day and the price of food doubles every 2 years. By now, he has starved to death. And finally, for all those who are saying, we have to be careful before the country, before we get into a crisis, please wake up. We're living with banditry, with Boko Haram, and you're still saying that there will be a problem. What are we waiting for now? We are already there. We are already in crisis. So please, let's stop saying, let us stop before. No, it has already happened. The question is, how do we get out of this situation? Right in all the time is, all my friends would say that I am the person they knew 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. This country, and we're in difficult times, this country will not move forward until Nigerians take ownership of their country. Politicians get into office and they think they own us. They think they have earned the right to tell you when to speak and when not to speak. They have earned the right to control your views, and they cannot be criticized. The truth is, they don't have that right. People have said to me, your problem is you've criticized the government publicly. Many of them don't know that before I go with a public criticism, I would have spent months, maybe years, speaking in private. So when people talk about me and the whole missing money thing in the central bank, I tell them I never made public the question of my suspicions of missing money. I wrote a confidential letter to the president as governor of central bank in August. I expressed my concerns. Nothing happened. The letter leaked after 5 months. It was not me who announced it. But once it was out, I had to stand by my letter and own my position. With the current administration, I spent literally the whole of 2015 and 2016 speaking to everybody who should be spoken to and telling them that the economic policies they were pursuing were going to destroy the Nigerian economy. It was only when that failed that I spoke publicly. And we had to speak. Now the question which everybody is asking is, should Emir speak? And the answer is yes. And it depends on what Emir you are and what you're speaking on. I mean, Socrates said, wise people speak because they have something to say. Stupid people speak because they have to say something. But if you have something to say, you have to say it. And I never agreed that anyone could tell me, given my background, that I was not qualified to speak on the economy. I was a chief risk officer of a bank. I was MD of a bank. I was governor of the central bank. In 4 of the 5 years that I was governor, I was best central bank governor in Africa. In 1 of the years, I was best central bank governor in the world. And I say, if we all go into public service and we have a record, we should be proud to point to that record. And I'm ready. Anybody can look at what was the rate of inflation under me, what was the exchange rate, what did I do with the payment systems, what did I do with the banks. And if we spent all those years putting in our best to build this country, we have a right to speak when we see other people not doing the same thing. If every president, every governor, every minister, every commissioner took his job seriously, this country would not be where it was. But if people are willing to be ministers and commissioners and governors and presidents for 8 years and not tell us how they have improved our lives, we have a problem. And we have to tell them that that is not why they were put in office. So we do have challenges. My own position was no position would stop me from expressing my views. Emir, non-Emir, Khalifa, non-Khalifa, governor, no governor, it does not matter. We have to continue speaking up for this country, and we have to continue asking politicians to do the right thing. And for the politicians, 7 years ago, people thought they had 8 years. Then they had 4 years. Now we talk about how many months. Maybe some of them will soon realize that even the power they had and the position they had was temporary. In a few years, in a few months, in 1 year, many of those people will be out on the streets here. They will not. They won't have the office. They won't have the power. And the only thing that is left is the record. What did you do when you were there? And if all you can point to is that you harass people and oppress people, and, well, that's fine if that's what you want for yourself. But for most of us, we want something more important and more fundamental.